Welcome to Genic. In today's video, we're diving deep into the teachings of Epictetus, one of the most profound minds in Stoic philosophy. His ideas may be ancient, but they remain just as relevant today, perhaps even more so in a world filled with stress, uncertainty, and chaos. Epictetus believed that inner peace and happiness are entirely within our control. But if you look around, that might seem hard to believe. The world is filled with suffering, disease, heartbreak, betrayal, corrupt politicians, and wars that threaten millions of lives. We face personal struggles, financial hardships, and unexpected challenges that seem beyond our ability to manage. So how can we possibly be happy and at peace in a world like this? This is where Stoicism, and specifically Epictetus's no-nonsense approach, comes into play. He didn't sugarcoat anything. His philosophy is not about vague, feel-good affirmations. It's about practical strategies to train your mind, change your perspective, and develop a level of emotional resilience so strong that nothing external can disturb your peace. If you want to be truly free from stress, free from anxiety, free from the ups and downs of life, then you must go all the way. No half measures, no excuses. Only a complete shift in how you perceive reality and respond to it. This video is about breaking down the true cause of our suffering and how we can overcome it using Epictetus's teachings. By the end of this, you'll have a roadmap to unshakable inner peace, something that is entirely within your power. Just like he said. But you know what else is within your power? Supporting this channel. Consider joining my Patreon for exclusive ad-free content, behind-the-scenes updates, and even free merchandise. You can also follow me on social media for more daily insights on philosophy, self-improvement, and Stoicism. Now, let's begin. Epictetus, the philosopher who was born a slave. Before we dive into his teachings, let's talk about the man himself. Epictetus wasn't born into a privileged life of learning and philosophy. In fact, he was born into slavery. He came into the world around 50 AD in Hierapolis, which is present-day Turkey. Unlike most philosophers of his time, Epictetus did not come from wealth or power. Instead, he started at the very bottom of society. Despite his status, Epictetus had a relentless hunger for knowledge. He studied under the famous Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus in Rome, absorbing the wisdom of Stoicism while still in bondage. Eventually, he was granted his freedom and dedicated his life to philosophy, teaching students how to develop inner strength and live in harmony with the nature of the world. But his journey wasn't smooth. The Roman Emperor Domitian banned all philosophers from Rome, fearing that their teachings promoted independence of thought. Instead of giving up, Epictetus moved to Nicopolis, where he started a school that attracted students from all over the ancient world. His teachings were never written down by him personally, but one of his pupils, Arrian, recorded them in the Discourses and the Enchiridion. These writings became some of the most influential texts in Stoic philosophy, guiding thinkers, warriors, and leaders for centuries. But Epictetus wasn't the kind of teacher who gave long theoretical lectures. He was brutally direct. He believed philosophy should be lived, not just studied. And most importantly, he believed that true freedom didn't come from external circumstances. It came from controlling your own mind. The real source of our suffering. Why do we suffer? Why do we feel stressed, anxious, or angry? Epictetus gave a simple but profound answer. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about those things. In other words, nothing external has the power to upset you. Only your perception of it does. Let's take an example. Imagine you lose a large sum of money. You immediately feel distressed, anxious, maybe even angry. But what's actually causing your suffering? Is it the event itself? Losing money? Or is it your judgment that this is a terrible, unfortunate thing? Epictetus would argue that it's your judgment. The event itself is neutral. Someone else in the same situation might not react as emotionally. A billionaire losing a few $1,000s wouldn't care. A monk with no attachment to wealth wouldn't be affected at all. This means that it's not the situation that matters, it's how you interpret it. And this applies to everything. Heartbreak, betrayal, annoying people in traffic, losing your job, someone being rude to you. The event itself isn't what causes suffering. It's your attachment, your expectations, and your judgments that create distress. This brings us to the two forces Epictetus believed were at the root of all human suffering. Desire, wanting things to be a certain way. Aversion, rejecting things we don't like. How desire and aversion make us slaves. Epictetus warned that if you let desire control you, you are chained to things outside of your control. If you desire wealth, you become anxious about losing it. If you desire fame, you become desperate for the approval of others. If you desire a relationship, you fear loneliness. Similarly, if you are averse to certain things, you suffer when they appear in your life. If you hate rude people, you'll always be angry. If you fear failure, you'll avoid taking risks. If you despise criticism, you'll never grow. The problem is that most of these things are outside of your control. If your happiness depends on external factors, money, success, love, health, or other people, you have placed your peace in the hands of fate. And fate is unpredictable. So what do you do instead? The Stoic path to absolute freedom. Epictetus's solution is radical acceptance, but not in a passive, defeatist way. Instead, he challenges you to align your desires with reality itself. Instead of wishing the world were different, train yourself to want what already is. Instead of resisting the inevitable, embrace it as part of nature's plan. Here's one of his most famous teachings. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to happen. Rather, wish that what happens happens the way it does, and you will be at peace. Think about how powerful that is. Instead of constantly fighting reality, flow with it. Instead of stressing over things beyond your control, master your mind. Imagine if, the next time something went wrong, you simply accepted it without resistance. What if, instead of getting frustrated by delays, losses, or disappointments, you simply thought, "This is what's happening, and I accept it"? You wouldn't be passive, you would still act to improve things, but you wouldn't suffer from things outside your control. This is what true inner freedom looks like. Conclusion: the power of letting go. The key to lasting inner peace isn't about changing the world. It's about changing yourself. Let go of attachment to outcomes. Let go of resentment toward things beyond your control. Let go of false beliefs that the world should be different than it is. Because in the end, freedom doesn't come from wealth, power, or circumstances. It comes from mastering your own mind. So, what do you think about Epictetus's radical approach? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.